Welcome. This is week 11 of your financial freedom program. And in this week, I am talking about contribution and alignment. So, contribution is a need. And I have trained in nonviolent communication, which is a needs based communication process. And I'm accredited in that process. And I think that this is a good time to talk about that and kind of kick off from that point. So, as I said, contribution is a need. And when you look at things from a need based perspective, what you see is that virtually everything in life is related to needs. And so we have needs for contribution. We want to contribute in meaningful ways, because it's fulfilling for us, to know that we can contribute, that it helps us to have a sense of knowing that we matter and that we belong and that we're seen and we're heard and we're appreciated. And so contribution is extremely important for human beings because we're social beings. We want to be part of a social network. Not talking about Facebook. I mean a true social network, when we really feel that we're connected to people and we're part of a network, and that it's like Indra's net, where every single human being is a jewel in the net. And so we're connected holistically in that net, and the energy flows through us. So I hope that you were able to see the video I did on valuing your life energy, because I think that that's fundamental to understanding everything about contribution and receiving. So getting needs met through reciprocity. Okay, so we contribute and we receive, and that's reciprocity. Okay, energy is coming. It's like a infinity symbol, the way it comes in and goes out, and that's reciprocity. So we want to contribute and we want to receive and have needs met. But we want to do that from the perspective of being human beings. And I would also say from the perspective of being spiritual beings. And this has nothing to do with any kind of religious perspective. It's just the simple understanding of the most basic understanding of what is spiritual. What is spiritual is what is connected, okay? It's the recognition that everything is connected. And not only that, but it's connected energetically. So, and science tells us that. Quantum physics tells us that. And I think that a really good explanation of this sort of thing you could read in the Tao of Physics as an example, to be able to understand that energy and matter are connected. They are one. You literally cannot disconnect it. You can't disconnect them. Everything is connected. So, so that's the most basic understanding of spiritual. So, even an atheist can understand the concept that everything is connected. In that sense, everything is one. Everything is connected. And so spirituality is the recognition of that connection, and also about the recognition of energy and how we put energy out into the world and we receive energy and we create that reciprocity. And so it's really about the kind of energy that we're putting out into the world. And so that's why I want to talk about contribution in relationship to alignment, okay? And I think that this is more true than ever before. I mean, when you encounter a situation like we've encountered recently, since we started this program, wow, have things changed so much. And I know that many of the students who signed up for this program have had their lives disrupted. And there's nothing wrong with that. So there's no judgment on that. Okay, it's not about, is it right to have your life disrupted or wrong to have your life disrupted? There's no judgment in the realm of spirit. There's no judgment. There are only there's only consciousness and awareness, and to be able to watch the way the energy is flowing and to see if there is something that we experience as alignment, and if not, then we want to get into alignment. So me personally, the ways that my life has been disrupted has been very minor, but it has actually brought into awareness the idea of alignment. So even for me, though the disruption was minor, I have experienced a need for alignment. So I want to be very clear about what this means. So I think the idea of contribution is pretty easy to understand. It's anything that we give out to the world, okay? So contribution can be the work that you do in the world. It can be things that you give to people. Sometimes, we do that in the form of money, or we do that in the form of work, or we do that in the form of gifts, or we do that in the form of just energy, like thoughts and feelings can actually be a contribution. Showing up, being present, being loving, being empathetic and compassionate. Those are all contributions because they're all about the energy that we put out to the world. And then, like I said, then we receive, and we have that reciprocity, that energy coming back and in and out like a infinity. Okay, that's the reciprocity. So we want to be part of that reciprocity. We want the energy to flow, but we also want it to flow on an energy of love and open-heartedness and compassion and acceptance and presence and empathy, and to create a spaciousness in which we can hold ourselves and other people and reality and everything virtually. And so this has to do with alignment, because we can often have an experience where our contribution does not feel in alignment. Something doesn't feel right about it. If we feel like the energy is blocked in some way, or constipated, or warped and distorted, and it's just, it feels toxic, then we know we're out of alignment. So if there's fear around it, or displeasure or unhappiness, those are generally ways that we can know. And sometimes we can just know in our bodies if we feel toxic. So I'm going to use an example from my own life to help you to understand what I mean by this. So again, I think the idea of contribution is pretty obvious. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it's something that everybody needs and wants. There's nobody, if a person doesn't want to contribute, it's in a fundamental human level, it's not that they don't want to contribute. It's that there's something about them that is trying to protect themselves, that maybe they have felt used or judged in the past. And so they hold back their contribution because they have fear of that. But on a fundamental level, they really do want to contribute. Everybody wants to contribute. It's a human need. It's a universal human need. So that part is pretty self-explanatory. But then in terms of being in alignment, and recognizing what's coming up for you, an example from my own life was that I, for quite a while actually, had felt uncomfortable about my YouTube channel, and the fact that I felt like I could only make videos about Trump, because I was a little bit too trained to the analytics, in a sense that I would look at the analytics. If they went up, then I thought, okay, I need to keep making videos where all the numbers are going up. That could be like subscriptions going up, views going up, watch time going up, revenue going up, all the numbers going up. And so when I did videos that were more in alignment with my heart and what I really truly wanted to contribute, so that that contribution was in alignment with the heart energy, my numbers would go down. And so I would see that, and I would feel, in a sense, entrained to that, but that was external to me. So that's an understanding of an external locus of control, that I was looking to the external, and that was having power over me. And so if I did something that was in alignment with my heart, and then externally I saw the numbers go down, like subscriptions go down, views go down, watch time goes down, revenue goes down, then I felt entrained to do what the external locus of control was telling me to do, even though in my heart I was not in alignment. And so I tried to justify it for a long time, because I knew that, in a leadership position, Trump did need to be held accountable, and that totally makes sense. And I knew that it was comforting to people to know that, on a karmic level, that there would be accountability, and I still believe that's true. But anyway, so that for a long time I did know that I didn't feel completely in alignment. I could sense that within myself, but I couldn't find a way to get out of this external locus of control that was driving me. So eventually, when the virus hit, and I saw very clearly that that this was an opportunity for humanity to reconsider the way that we are behaving on the planet, and to ask if we are in alignment with spirit, in alignment with love, and if we are connected to humanity, connected to the environment, connected to the cosmos, connected to our hearts, and these energies are in alignment, and they're running on the wave of love, then I had to ask myself about that too. Like, I'm part of humanity. I have to ask myself these questions too. And so I realized that if I stayed in the paradigm of judgment, which is that everything is either right or wrong, black or white, left, right, good, bad, and in that left, right, good, bad, right, wrong paradigm, that polarity, I was stuck in the polarity of Democrats versus Republicans, left versus right, blue versus red. And I realized that as long as I was stuck in that polarity, that basically it was like playing a tic-tac-toe game. And there was never, you can't go anywhere with a tic-tac-toe game. That's why we stopped playing it when we're children. We realized you can't go anywhere. It's just X's and O's. The results are always the same. You can't actually go anywhere. So we grow out of playing tic-tac-toe. And tug of war is the same thing. If two sides are equally matched, then you're always just inching a little bit forward and then pulling back, and inching a little bit forward and pulling back. And this is an eternity stuck in this space, never growing outside of it. And because I've studied spiral dynamics, I knew that in order for us to grow as a species on planet Earth, that we had to break out of that polarity. You cannot get beyond it in terms of your consciousness if you are stuck in that polarity, just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I needed to break out of that so that I could go up to a higher level of consciousness, which I believe we were being called to do right now on planet Earth. And I wanted to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And also I recalled a quote from Albert Einstein, which says that you cannot solve a problem from the level of consciousness that created it. So I wanted to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I had to disconnect from that external locus of control and just stop looking at the numbers. That wasn't easy to do. It can become rather addictive. And I'm just acknowledging the truth about that. Yes, we do. We are entrained from a very young age to adjust our behavior based on the external locus of control. But as we grow as an adult, part of maturing is to move that into an internal locus of control. And we learn how to listen to the heart. The heart and brain have a coherence about them. And when we're in alignment, we are able to take the cosmic energy into our being as a transmitter, and it will flow clearly through the chakras down into the earth. And especially if we have a brain-heart coherence, and then we're able to put our contribution out into the world with that alignment. And so I realized, I have to do that work just as much as anybody else does. So I disconnected from the external locus of control and came back to internal locus of control and what my heart was telling me, listening to that still small voice within, because it knows the truth. If you listen to it, the energy doesn't lie. And sometimes we get so overwhelmed by the external messages, the external locus of control, and wanting to please people. It's natural for humans to want to please people, but unfortunately that shifts us into an unhealthy codependent leaning forward, like, yes, I'll make you happy. If you say, talk bad about Trump and that makes you happy, then yes, I will do that, even though I can see that I'm trapped in a polarity that does not allow for a higher level of consciousness. And I had to choose the higher level of consciousness. I had to choose the inner voice. I had to choose the alignment, not just with the cosmic energy and consciousness, but within myself, and recognizing the truth about being in alignment with what I value, which is consciousness expansion and unconditional love and presence, and being grounded in the here and now, listening to my heart and what my heart was telling me. I needed to get my contribution into alignment with that. And so if any of you are feeling out of alignment, then this is absolutely essential. And I do think that this is absolutely 100% part of financial freedom, because our contribution into the world is often how we receive as well, because of the energy reciprocity. Okay. And so when we're putting energy out into the world in our contribution, we're receiving energy. And this allows us to meet our needs. And so we want that energy of contribution to be in alignment. Okay. And when we're in alignment, we are free. Okay. Because consciousness expansion is what takes us to freedom, not the externals. As much as we're trained to believe that, the money, show me the money, honey. That's an external locus of control. And that is, I think, one of the most difficult things for people to learn but I have learned it because providence, abundance, spirit has showed me over and over and over again for over a decade. I would say, at this point, it's way over a decade. It's going on. It's over 15 years. It's going on 2 decades now that I have watched providence show up for me over and over and over again. It's amazing. But providence, in a sense, requires trust first. And I don't know why that is. I think it's because it's the shift of the energy. So when we're acting out of fear and we're leaning toward the external locus of control out of fear, instead of standing tall in alignment with our own truth and knowing, we know, when you're in alignment, you know what that feels like. And when you're out of alignment, you know what that feels like. So out of alignment feels toxic, and there's fear and there's anger, and you just don't quite feel right. But when you're in alignment, you know it, you feel it. So when we're in alignment, it leads us toward freedom. But for some reason, providence, abundance, spirit wants us to trust first. And again, I think that's because of the energy. Because when we're not trusting, we are in fear, and we are leaning forward and listening to the external control instead of standing tall and channeling cosmic divine intelligence through our beings and grounding it and centering it and living in it and opening our chakras to it and letting that energy flow through into creation. And when we're doing that, we don't need the external proof, including money. And that can be really scary for human beings. But I know that it's true because Spirit has proven that to me over and over and over again. So I knew what I had to do. And as challenging as it was, I started to pull away from what I knew was out of alignment. And have started more and more to move in the direction of what I feel is energetically in alignment, which means stepping out of the polarity, stepping out of the judgment. I'm not even interested in what those people are doing anymore, literally. I'm not listening to them anymore. I'm not interested in what they have to say. I am listening to what spirit is telling me, what my heart is telling me, what coherence is telling me, what divine intelligence is telling me, what the energy is telling me, what love is telling me, what my present here and now moment is telling me, which is that I am safe in this moment, in this here and now. I am safe. No one is breaking down my door. I have food in the kitchen. I could go make something to eat right now. I'm not going to starve. You know, I'm safe. I have my needs met. I can feed myself. And you know, I'm not cold. I'm healthy. You know, so in every way, shape, and form, my here and now says I am safe. My needs are met. Everything's okay. You know, and I can go out my door and the sky is blue. In fact, more blue than ever before. No planes. I have occasionally seen planes flying, and I read an article saying that yes, some planes are still flying, but for the most part, it's much, much bluer, much quieter than it's ever been before. The birds are singing, the grass is growing, the sun is shining, and it's a beautiful world outside my door. And sometimes I go hiking, and you know, there are other happy people out there hiking and biking, and you know, I personally have not encountered any of the challenges that come with this experience, other than realizing that I have to get in alignment with consciousness expansion and with love and with what my heart and divine intelligence are telling me to do, which is to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So that's the example from my own personal life. So if that sounds familiar to you in any way, shape, or form, you know, if for some reason you're feeling out of alignment with your contribution, if something feels toxic, then that's where you need to start paying your attention. Stop listening to the external locus of control. Listen to the internal locus of control and trust, because I can assure you, providence does show up. And I've been through some scary moments when I wasn't sure, but it always showed up for me in amazing and miraculous ways. Even if it was at the last minute, it always showed up for me. All right, so that is the subject of this week: contribution and alignment. And if you get your contribution into alignment with internal locus of control, okay, allowing cosmic divine wisdom to pour through you so you are a clear channel for it and grounded in the earth and centered, and you know what that feels like. It feels safe. It feels like joy and bliss. You're following your bliss. You feel much happier. I'm not saying that the fear isn't sometimes there, but it's, you know, there's a little bit of distance between that because you're in your observer when you're in internal locus of control and you're channeling that cosmic divine wisdom and you're trusting and your heart is open and the energy is flowing through your heart and through your chakras, and you're grounded and centered, and you have the brain-heart coherence, then you are free. No matter what the externals say, freedom is a state of being, and that's how you get free. And that's how you achieve financial freedom. So the alignment is absolutely essential to financial freedom. Letting go of the external locus of control and bringing it back into an internal locus of control so that you are in alignment with what you know you are meant to do and contribute in this world. Okay? All right, so that's it for today. And actually, that's it for this week. So I will start working on the final week, which is week 12 of your financial freedom program. And then we will be complete. And I hope that you have been able to learn some of the things that were helpful to you and to put them into action. And if that's still, if you're in an ongoing process, that is completely natural, and you can come back to this program as many times as you want and continue to learn from it. All right, so that's it for today, and that is it for this week, and I will see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.